Hey, you guys, good morning. Happy Friday, or whenever you're watching this. I hope you had an awesome week last week. We're still going to chug along and we're going to work on some special right triangles again today. There's one more that we're going to focus on, and it's called a right isosceles triangle technically, but you probably heard the name. It's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So let's get going. I'm going to draw us a right isosceles triangle. The word isosceles you've heard before. All it means is that I've got a triangle and two of the lengths are the same. In this case, it's going to be the legs. So I've got two legs of the same length. I know it's a right triangle. So something cool that I can do is this is the only right isosceles triangle is going to have these 45 and 45 degree angles. So how do I know that? Well, I've got two angles. I'm going to label them X for now. And I know that all the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So I've got X plus 90 equals 180. And then I'd have 2X plus 90 equals 180. Keep simplifying. 2X equals 90. And then I get X equals 45. So that's how I know that both of my angles are going to be 45 degrees in this right isosceles triangle. Now that's a little bit less interesting than what we're really going to focus on today, and that is proportional relationships between our sides. So just like we went over 30, 60, 90 triangles, I want to find some values for my sides and how they relate together so I can solve for missing values. So since I know that these two sides have the same length, I'm going to label these as X and X, they're the same length. I'm going to give them the same variable. So let's solve. I'm going to give my hypotenuse C because I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem to kind of solve and see what proportional relationship we have here. So I'm going to have X squared plus X squared because those are both of my legs equals C squared. And then I'm going to simplify. I've got 2X squared equals C squared. I'm going to take the square root of both sides to get C squared all by itself, or C, because that's ultimately what I'm solving for. I'm curious what this side length is in comparison to the other two. And that leaves me with the square root of 2 times X equals C. I'm going to rewrite that. That's just C equals X times root 2. And that might look kind of familiar to, let's see, Tuesday for some of you, or I guess Wednesday for both of you guys. So what we looked at on Wednesday. So C equals X root 2. Now you're not going to have to do this. This is just how we would derive those relationships and those lengths. So let's look at some clearer notes here. So we're looking at 45, 45, 90 degree triangles. So we know this is a right isosceles triangle. It's got two legs that are the same length. Those are always going to be our legs. So we're not looking for a short leg here and a long leg. Rather, we're just trying to distinguish between legs and our hypotenuse. So 45, 45, 90 degree triangles are a little bit easier. So woohoo for that. A little bit less work today. And then we've got the same kind of idea. We always want to work through these legs because it's more simple to find just a plain value of X than it is to find X times the root of 2. So when you're solving, if you have a leg value or a leg length and you're trying to find the hypotenuse, all you have to do is multiply by root 2. If you're going from one leg to the other, they're congruent, they're the same, so they have the same length. Now, if you're given the hypotenuse and you're trying to get the leg value or the leg length, all you have to do is divide by root 2. So it's a little bit different than 30, 60, 90 triangles, but overall it's the same idea. So if you got 30, 60, 90 triangles, you're going to get this. I'm pretty confident. You guys are rocking it. So a couple of examples for you guys I'm going to run you through, just like if we were in class today together. Let's go ahead and solve. We're looking for our missing side lengths. So we're given one of the legs is 3. And in a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle, I know that my legs are congruent. They're equal. So A is just going to be 3. And then my hypotenuse is my leg times root 2. So I'm going to have 3 times root 2. And it's as simple as that. Right as I say it, there it is. All right, B. This time we're given the hypotenuse, so what do I have to do to get to my legs? I need to divide by root 2. And you might be saying, isn't that just 8? Because a root 2 over root 2 is equivalent to 1, so 8 times 1 is 8. And you would be right about that. Since our legs are congruent, I know that both A and B are 8. All right, let's work on number 3. We are given one of the legs, so automatically I'm just going to solve for the other leg. Not too much work here because they are congruent. They have the same length, same value. Now I need to look at B. So to get from the legs to my hypotenuse, I know I need to multiply by root 2. So I'm going to have 9 root 15 times root 2. Now I've got 2 square roots. I'm trying to multiply them. All I have to do is combine them. So I'm actually going to get 9 root 15 times 2. And then 15 times 2 is 30. So I'm going to have 9 root 30. And that is how I would solve for B, in this case, our hypotenuse. Moving on, number 4 here. We are trying to find our legs and we're given a hypotenuse this time, kind of like the last. So what do I have to do to go from my hypotenuse to a leg? I need to divide by root 2. So to find my x, I'm going to do 17 divided by root 2. Now you might be tempted to stop here, but remember, we want to rationalize this. We don't like having those roots in the denominator. So what do I have to do? I'm just going to multiply by a value of 1. And I know that if I multiply 2 roots together, they cancel each other out. So I'm going to get 17 root 2. And then what's root 2 times root 2? It would be the square root of 2 squared. The squared and the root cancel each other out. So I get 17 root 2 over 2. And that is my x value. That's the value for both of my sides. Remember, those are congruent. They're the same. All right, one more for you. We're given a hypotenuse again. We need to solve for our legs. So we've got 5 root 12 is our hypotenuse. How do I get to my legs? I need to divide by root 2. So I'm going to divide by root 2. Once again, I've got that root 2 in my denominator. I don't like that very much, but there's a little bit of a trick here. I'm dividing a square root by another square root, so I don't really have to multiply like I did above. All I have to do is say, 12 divided by 2 is 6, so I get 5 root 6. And that is our value for x. Remember, these are congruent, these sides, so both of these side lengths are the value of x, or 5 root 6, that is. Alrighty, hopefully that's enough for you today. I'm always around. Send me an email. Otherwise, we can freshen things up next week. We'll go over a couple more examples. But looking forward to seeing you in person next week. Hope you have an awesome weekend. Otherwise, I'm always here. Let me know if you need anything. See you guys soon.